My chest felt tight as I stood at the back of the ballroom, clutching my children's hands so hard they squirmed. I shouldn't have come. I told myself I would just watch him from afar, just one look after 5 long years, and then slip away. But the moment Kang Hyun-woo walked on stage, tall and perfect in his black suit, my knees went weak. His storm-gray eyes swept across the crowd like knives, and for a heartbeat, I swore they stopped on me. My breath caught, my heart racing like the night I gave him everything, and then ran before dawn. Welcome to Cherryboyhearts BL. If you love steamy, emotional BL stories filled with drama, passion, and sweet family moments, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and sit back as we dive into today's story. I told myself I wouldn't cry. Not here. Not tonight. The lights from the massive hotel ballroom were so bright they made my eyes sting. Hundreds of chairs lined the floor, all filled with people in black suits and glittering dresses. Reporters stood in a tight line near the stage, cameras raised, waiting for every word that would come from Kang Hyun-woo, the man who ruled the city's business world like a king, and the man I had spent the last 5 years running from. I gripped the small hands of my 3 children, my heart beating so hard it hurt. Min-jun was squirming beside me, his storm-gray eyes, his father's eyes, full of trouble. Min-seo kept glancing at the stage with a bright, excited smile, her hair bow almost sliding out. Min-kyu was quiet, holding onto my leg, but I could feel the way he trembled, sensing my fear. "Shoo!" I whispered, kneeling down to their level. My voice shook. "We just watch and then we go home. Okay?" They nodded, but I didn't trust them. They were too smart for their age, too full of curiosity. And why wouldn't they be? They had never seen the man whose blood ran through their veins. Hyun-woo walked on stage then, tall and sharp in his black suit, and the whole room seemed to hold its breath. My chest squeezed so tight I had to grab the back of a chair to steady myself. He hadn't changed, not one bit. His hair was still dark as midnight, slicked back perfectly, and his eyes were cold steel scanning the crowd. He spoke with that calm, deep voice that used to make me melt and now only made my stomach twist. "Tonight," he said, standing before the microphone, "we celebrate the company's growth." I didn't hear the rest. My ears buzzed. My children's faces turned up toward him, and my heart raced. Min-jun's mouth dropped open. Min-seo let out a small gasp. "Oh no." Before I could grab them, they broke free. All 3 of them. "Daddy!" They screamed together, their voices high and clear. Everything stopped. The room went dead silent except for the sound of little shoes slapping the marble floor as my children ran straight toward the stage. Reporters' flashes went off like lightning. People gasped. Someone near me dropped their drink. My blood went cold. "No, no, no!" I ran after them, my chest pounding. I could feel every pair of eyes in the room burning into me. Hyun-woo's head snapped up. He froze mid-sentence, staring down at the 3 little people standing right below him. His expression didn't move at first, he just stared. Then I saw it. His nostrils flared slightly, his pupils widened, and a dangerous, raw energy rolled off him like a wave. He knew. I skidded to a stop, breathless, my hands grabbing Min-jun and Min-seo by the arms. Min-kyu clung to my leg, looking up at Hyun-woo with big gray eyes that matched his perfectly. "Ji-hoon," Hyun-woo said softly, and my stomach turned to ice. It had been 5 years since I heard my name in that voice. I tried to speak, to explain, but words wouldn't come. Then suddenly, everything moved at once. Hyun-woo stepped away from the podium, his security team rushing forward. Reporters shouted questions, flashes blinding me. My children hid their faces in my shirt, frightened now. "Wait, please." I tried to push back as 2 guards came close, but they didn't listen. Hyun-woo's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Bring them to me." The guards froze, then stepped back. He came down the stairs slowly, his polished shoes clicking against the wood. His storm-gray eyes locked on me the whole time. Every step he took made my pulse race faster. When he finally stood in front of me, he looked bigger than I remembered, taller, broader. He smelled like sharp cedar and something darker underneath, his alpha scent. My knees almost gave out. He didn't touch me. Not yet. Instead, he crouched down to the children's level, and my breath caught in my throat. Minesio peeked at him first. "Daddy?" she said again, her voice small. Hyunwoo's jaw tightened, and something flickered in his eyes. Pain, wonder, anger, all at once. "Yes," he said finally, his voice rough. "I'm your father." The sound of cameras clicking grew louder, but I couldn't hear them anymore. My whole world had shrunk down to this man and the 3 children between us. He stood then, towering over me. His face was unreadable, but I could feel the storm brewing inside him. "You're not running this time," he whispered, so low only I could hear. My breath caught. My legs wanted to run. My arms tightened around the children. But my heart betrayed me. Because even through the fear, through the anger, there was a small, dangerous part of me that was relieved. He had found us. The ride to Hyunwoo's penthouse was too quiet. My heart beat so loud it drowned out the hum of the expensive car. The city lights outside blurred past, like streaks of gold and silver. Minjun and Mineseo had fallen asleep, their heads resting on each other's shoulders, but I held Minkyu tight on my lap, rocking him slowly. His tiny fingers twisted in my shirt. I wanted to open the car door and run. I wanted to disappear again like I had 5 years ago, but I couldn't. Not with 3 children who needed me. Not with Hyunwoo sitting across from me in the dark car, his storm gray eyes never leaving my face. He didn't speak. Not once. And somehow that was worse than yelling. When we arrived at the penthouse, I froze just inside the door. The place was exactly as I remembered it. Cold, clean, and sharp like its owner. Glass walls stretched across the room, showing the whole city below us, glowing under the night sky. The air smelled faintly of cedar and leather, the same scent that had haunted my dreams for years. I put the kids on the wide cream couch and pulled a blanket over them. They curled together instantly, still half asleep. Then I stood, hugging myself, trying to steady my breathing. Hyunwoo stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, one hand in his pocket, the other gripping a glass of whiskey so tight I thought it might shatter. "You should sit," he said finally, his voice low and calm. Too calm. No, my answer came out sharper than I meant. His head turned slightly, his eyes narrowing. "You're still stubborn." I swallowed hard. "You dragged us here without warning. You have no right to." "No right?" His voice was quiet but dangerous now. He turned fully toward me, the city lights throwing shadows across his face. "You hid my children from me for 5 years, Jihoon. 5 years. I had no choice." My own voice broke. I held Minkyu closer, feeling his small breath against my neck. "You were engaged, Hyunwoo. Do you think you would have kept us? Do you think you would have claimed us then?" His jaw clenched. "Yes. No." My hands shook as I shouted back. "You loved your reputation more than anything. You would have told me to get rid of them." Something in his face darkened. He set his glass down with a sharp click and crossed the room in long, quick strides. I backed away until my back hit the cool glass wall. "Hyunwoo." He stopped right in front of me, his hand braced against the glass near my head. His scent surrounded me, warm and sharp, making my knees weak. "Do you know what it's like," he said slowly, his voice rough now, "to be told you can never have children? To believe that part of you is broken?" I didn't breathe. His other hand rose, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. I flinched but didn't move. "Do you know what it's like," he continued, his storm gray eyes burning into mine, "to find out that all this time, I had three perfect children who look exactly like me." My heart thudded so hard it hurt. "I thought I was protecting them," I whispered, my voice small. "You were protecting yourself." His words were sharp but not cruel, just true. I turned my head away, my eyes stinging. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand." His fingers were still at my hairline, gentle now, almost trembling. The warmth of his touch burned against my skin, and for one terrifying second, I remembered the last time we had been this close. The way his lips felt against mine, the way he held me that night like I was something precious. I hated myself for wanting that again. Hyun-woo! My voice cracked, soft and pleading. He stepped back then, as if forcing himself to give me space. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands curled into fists at his sides. We're doing a DNA test, he said finally, his tone firm. Tomorrow morning. I swallowed, my chest tight. And if the results say they're yours? I asked quietly. His gaze hardened. Then you're never leaving my sight again. The words made me shiver, and not just from fear. I looked over at the couch where the triplets slept peacefully, their faces soft and innocent. I wanted to protect them from everything. From him, from the media, from the whole world. I'll agree, I said at last, my voice trembling. But only if we stay somewhere safe. Somewhere no one can bother us until the results come. Hyun-woo's face softened just slightly. You're safe here, he said simply. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't find the strength. When he turned away, I let out a shaky breath and sank to the floor, holding Min-kyu close. My body trembled from head to toe. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but I knew one thing, nothing about my life would ever be the same again. The results came back the next morning. I sat at the edge of the couch with my knees pressed together and my hands clutching the hem of my shirt so tight my knuckles hurt. The triplets were playing quietly on the carpet, stacking blocks and whispering to each other, but even they felt the tension in the air. Hyun-woo stood across the room, arms crossed, his face carved from stone as one of his men walked in holding an envelope. This is it, the man said, handing it to him. The room felt too quiet, like the air had been sucked out of it. My chest felt so heavy I thought I might faint. Hyun-woo broke the seal with sharp, precise fingers and unfolded the paper. His eyes scanned the page once, then again. His jaw clenched. Then he looked up at me, and I knew. They're not mine. His voice was flat, but deadly cold. I blinked, my stomach twisting. What? They're not mine, Ji-hoon. He held up the paper like proof, his gray eyes like ice. The test is negative. No, I shook my head so hard my hair fell in my eyes. That's impossible. He threw the paper on the coffee table, the sound like a slap. You lied to me, he snapped, his voice rising for the first time. You dragged me into this circus. You humiliated me in front of the media. For what? To make me believe they were mine. I didn't lie. My own voice cracked. My heart was pounding so fast it hurt. They are yours, Hyun-woo. I wouldn't do that to you. Then explain this. He pointed at the paper, his face dark with fury. I couldn't breathe. I looked at the children. Minjun's eyes were wide. Min-seo had stopped playing with the blocks, and Min-kyu had crawled closer to me, sensing the danger. You think I made them up? My hands shook as I grabbed Min-kyu and held him close. Tears blurred my vision. You think I wanted this? To come here, to face you after 5 years, just to be called a liar. His expression didn't change. That hurt more than the words. Ji-hoon, he said coldly. I want you out of my house. Now. My heart shattered. I grabbed the twins by the hands, my legs almost giving out under me as I pulled them toward the door. You will regret this? I whispered, my throat burning as tears ran down my face. One day, you will regret this. He didn't say a word. I drove as fast as I could, my hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The city lights blurred past through my tears. Mommy, Min-seo's small voice broke the silence. Why doesn't Daddy want us? My chest squeezed so tight I couldn't answer right away. I glanced at them in the rearview mirror. Minjun's lips were trembling. Min-kyu was sucking his thumb, trying not to cry. He does want you. I lied softly, my voice breaking. He doesn't understand yet. But I do. And I will always want you. Always. They didn't look convinced. The tears wouldn't stop. They ran down my cheeks, hot and endless, blurring the road. 5 years of keeping them safe, of working 2 jobs to feed them, of hiding whenever reporters or curious neighbors asked questions. All of it came crashing down in that moment. Hyun-woo had been my one hope that they wouldn't grow up without a father, and he threw us away like we meant nothing. I swore right then I would never let him hurt them again. Hours later, After I put the kids to bed in our small apartment, I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, staring at nothing. My head ached from crying. My body felt empty. I didn't hear the knock at first. Then the door burst open. Hyun-woo stood there, his chest rising and falling like he had run all the way here. His hair was messy, his tie gone, his shirt half unbuttoned. Hyun-woo. He didn't let me finish. He strode in, slammed a folded paper on the table, and looked at me with eyes that burned like fire. They're mine. His voice was rough, almost shaking. All of them, and so are you. I stared at the paper. A new DNA report, stamped and signed. He stepped closer until he was right in front of me, his shadow falling over me. I could feel the heat of his body, the tension rolling off him. You were right, he said quietly, his voice breaking now. Someone tampered with the first test. But it doesn't matter anymore, because I will never let you leave me again. My breath caught. Part of me wanted to slap him. Part of me wanted to throw myself into his arms and never let go. His hand reached out, brushing my cheek gently, almost tenderly. You're mine, Ji-hoon, he whispered. You always have been. And for the first time since that awful morning, my heart skipped. Not from pain, but from the dangerous, aching hope that maybe, just maybe, this alpha meant every word. The rain started before sunset. By the time night fell, the storm had swallowed the city. Water ran down the windows of my apartment in steady streams, the wind howling against the glass. Thunder rumbled in the distance, low and threatening. I sat on the couch, hugging my knees. The triplets were asleep in the bedroom, all curled up together. I should have been with them, but my mind was too loud to rest. Hyun-woo's words from earlier echoed in my head. They're mine, all of them, and so are you. I buried my face in my hands. I wanted to hate him, but my heart refused. The image of his face when he burst into my apartment, messy, furious, desperate, had burned into me. A flash of headlights swept across the room. I froze. I moved to the window and peeked through the curtain. His car sat across the street, sleek and black, shining under the rain. My heart jumped into my throat. He was here. The knock came moments later, firm, demanding. I opened the door just a little, the chain still locked. He stood there, rain dripping from his hair and soaking through his shirt. Even wet, he looked untouchable, tall, broad. His storm-gray eyes fixed on me like I was the only thing he could see. Ji-hoon, he said, his voice low and rough. My hand shook on the door. You shouldn't be here. He leaned closer, rainwater glistening on his jaw. Open the door. Now. Something in his tone made me obey. I shut the door long enough to unhook the chain, then opened it again. He stepped inside, shutting the door behind him. The room suddenly felt smaller, hotter. We just stared at each other for a long moment. You didn't answer my calls, he said finally. I didn't want to talk. My voice came out sharper than I intended. His jaw tightened. You can't run from me again. I laughed, but it sounded hollow. Run? I can't even breathe without you finding me. Good, he said, stepping closer. I backed up until my back hit the wooden door. My heart raced. Hyun-woo. He didn't let me finish. His hand came up and pressed against the door beside my head, caging me in. His other hand brushed the wet hair from my face, his fingers warm against my skin. I've lost 5 years, he said softly, his voice like thunder just before it breaks. I won't lose another second. Then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. His mouth crashed against mine, hot and demanding. His other hand grabbed my waist, pulling me closer. My knees almost gave out. I hated myself for how quickly I melted against him, for how my fingers curled into his wet shirt instead of pushing him away. For one wild moment, I let myself feel it. The heat of him, the taste of him, the ache I had buried for so long. Then reality slammed back. I shoved at his chest, breathless. Stop! He stepped back immediately, his chest rising and falling hard. His wet hair clung to his forehead, his lips slightly parted. I can't! I whispered, my voice shaking. I can't let you take them from me. I can't lose them. His face softened then, just a little. You won't lose them, he said. But I won't lose them either. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed on the table. I frowned and grabbed it, answering quickly so the kids wouldn't wake. It was one of my old pack friends, breathless, panicked. Ji-hoon, it's all over the news, she shouted through the phone. Someone leaked it. The triplets are alpha bloodline carriers. Pure bloodline, Ji-hoon. Do you understand what that means? Rival packs will come for them. They'll want to claim them, use them. My blood turned to ice. I hung up and looked at Hyun-woo. He was already on his phone, barking orders to his men. They'll be safe, he said, shoving the phone back in his pocket. I'll see to it. I shook my head, panic rising in my chest. No, they'll find us. They won't touch them. Hyun-woo. He grabbed my hand then, hard enough that I felt the heat of his skin. You're all coming with me, he said, his voice fierce and final. No arguments. I opened my mouth to fight, but the look in his eyes stopped me. It wasn't just anger there. It was fear, and something in my chest cracked. For the first time, I realized that this wasn't just about control for him. He was terrified too, terrified of losing us. I nodded slowly, my throat tight. Okay, I whispered. His hand squeezed mine once before he let go. Pack what you need, he said, softer now. We leave tonight. I turned toward the bedroom where the triplets slept, my heart pounding. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe it was the only way to keep them alive. Either way, there was no turning back. The night they came for us, the air felt wrong. I woke to the sound of heavy footsteps on the gravel driveway outside the safe house. My heart jumped into my throat. The storm from last night had cleared, leaving the world too quiet. Hyun-woo, I whispered, shaking his shoulder where he slept on the couch. His eyes snapped open instantly, sharp, alert, a predator's gaze. They found us, he said, already on his feet. I rushed to the kids' room, my heart hammering. Minjun was the first to wake, rubbing his eyes. Mineseo sat up, confused, while Minkyu clung to my shirt. It's okay, babies, I said, even though my voice trembled. Stay quiet, stay close. The front door rattled. A window shattered. Hyun-woo moved like lightning, his alpha presence filling the room. Get them behind me, he ordered. The first mercenary kicked the door open, a tall man with a cruel grin. Two more followed. I froze, my arms tightening around Minkyu. Hyun-woo stepped forward, his storm-gray eyes glowing with a rage I'd never seen before. You made a mistake coming here. Then everything exploded. Hyun-woo moved faster than I could see, his fist slamming into the first man's jaw. The second man lunged, and Hyun-woo threw him into the wall so hard the plaster cracked. The third tried to grab Minjun, but I swung a lamp at his head with all my strength, screaming, "Don't touch my son!" He stumbled, clutching his head, and Hyun-woo finished him with one sharp punch that sent him crumpling to the floor. The house went quiet again except for my ragged breathing and the kids' soft sobs. Hyun-woo turned to me, chest heaving. Are you hurt? I shook my head, tears running down my face. No, just scared. He pulled me against his chest for a second, his hand at the back of my head, before he crouched to check the kids. Minjun had a scrape on his knee, Mineseo's elbow was bleeding, and Minkyu wouldn't stop shaking. Hyun-woo's big hands were surprisingly gentle as he cleaned and bandaged them, murmuring soft words that sounded strange in his deep voice. It's okay, he said, kissing Mineseo's forehead. No one will hurt you again, I promise. Something inside me cracked at that, because for the first time I believed him. Later that night, after the guards had taken the intruders away and the kids had finally fallen asleep, I stepped out into the quiet living room. The lamp was still on, casting a soft glow across the room. And there he was. Hyun-woo had fallen asleep on the couch, his long frame stretched out awkwardly. All three kids were piled on top of him like little kittens. Minjun curled against his chest, Mineseo draped across his arm, Minkyu snuggled at his side. The sight made my throat tighten. For so long, I had been afraid that he would never accept them, never want them. and here he was holding them like they were the most precious things in the world. My chest felt warm, my eyes stinging. I sat on the floor near the couch, just watching them breathe. When I woke again, the moonlight was spilling through the window, silver and soft. Hyunwoo was awake now, his storm-gray eyes on me. "You should be in bed," he said softly. I couldn't sleep. He stood and walked toward me, stopping so close I could feel his warmth. Then he cupped my face with both hands and kissed me. This time it wasn't rough. It was slow, gentle, a promise, not a demand. When he pulled back, I was breathing hard, my heart racing. For the first time, I whispered, my voice shaking, "I'm not running." His thumb brushed my cheek, wiping away a tear. "This alpha?" I said softly, glancing toward the sleeping kids. "These children, they're my home." He smiled then, a small, rare smile, and kissed me again, deeper this time. When we finally pulled apart, I saw something on the coffee table I hadn't noticed before. 2 simple silver wedding rings. Hyunwoo followed my gaze, then leaned close, his lips brushing my ear. "Next time," he whispered, "we make it official." My heart thudded so hard it hurt, but for once, it wasn't from fear. It was from hope. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment telling us your favorite scene, and share this video to show your support. See you in the next episode of Cherryboyhearts BL.